Hello, Sam. What changes have you seen in the Western Arctic in your lifetime?
Sandra, I've seen a lot of changes in my lifetime in the last 30 years. 30 years ago, prior to 1955, there was no government, and it was just different. It was like a different world altogether.
How is it different?
Well, when the Dulan came in '55 in April, the planes started coming, different kind of airplanes, and the same year we see all kinds of tractors and dump trucks, and everything changed, you know. And just a month before April, like in February, we're trapping with dog teams. We had fur clothes, caribou skin pockets, and log houses, you know, and we had no worries, no bills to pay, and there was no housing association, no social services, there was nothing, you know. And people were scattered. They could live wherever they want. They can move down to Cape Bathurst if they want to spend a year there and another year down Booth Islands, or a year in Sac Harbor. People they had a choice. But after '55, since '55, things changed. People gathered into one community, and today we have modern homes, running water, television, telephones, housing association. We got the health services. We got education committees. It's a lot of change, and I really don't know how to explain that, but it's a real change. It's like two lives, two different lives.
Do you think life was better back in those days?
Well, today I'll never go back. I wouldn't want to go back to living the old days. What I got today, I really like. I like my modern home, running water, hot and cold water, and got television, telephones, and I like today's living standards. But the olden days had their rewards too. The olden days we don't have those conveniences at home, but we were happy. There was no worries. There was no bills to pay. You could go anywhere and be at home. You could travel 30 miles out of the main community and still feel at home. And you don't worry about getting kicked out of your rental house. Wherever you go, it's your own. So we had our own dog team. Dog team don't break down, you know, they don't run out of gas. And we had good times, hard times. It was fun. It had its own. It was a different kind of lifestyle. It had its good points and bad points. Like today, it has its good points and bad points too. You know, so the olden days was good at that time, yes, and today is good. I like today's living standards too. Mm-hmm. But I'll never trade today's living standards for the olden days. Snow house and igloo it was good those days, but it's sure damp. When I look back at it today, mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to live in an igloo. It's too damp, cold, but it was good those days. That's all we know. So it was a good home. Mm-hmm.
What do you see as the biggest problem facing the Inuvialuit people?
Today?
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem today we have is the trying to adjust to a new kind of lifestyle, a new culture. And this culture we got today, which we're trying to adapt into living by the living standards of today, it's complex. It's you have to have an education in order to live comfortably in this new culture. I don't think any Inuvialuit want to go back to living in an igloo and back to dog teams, you know, that kind of stuff. But then today you need education to be able to appreciate the lifestyle we got today. The problem today we have is lack of education. That's the biggest problem. When you don't have education, you're under pressure of not knowing a lot of the things in a new culture. For example, learning to be able to budget is a hard one. It was hard for me. Learning to save money was hard for me. Learning to pay bills on time, it was hard for me. And to be able to associate with people from outside, industry and governments, and people from other world. I need education, which I don't have. It was really hard. And I think today our biggest problem is lack of education. And with that lack of education comes problems like alcoholism. How do we handle alcoholism? Mm-hmm. How do we handle the drugs, you know? How do we handle assertiveness, for one thing? You know, it's there's lack of education. It's,
how can these problems be overcome?
There could be a lot of it could be overcome by, could be helped by education. And not that I'm not saying that you cannot, I'm not saying that if you get your education, you'll have no more problems. You'll always have problems. But you can avoid a lot of these problems by getting your education, school education. You can avoid a lot of these things, a lot of these problems. At least learn to cope with them through education. Compared to my old way of living prior to 1955, the problems we have today were non-problems those days. There was no problem of lack of education those days. Well, there may be some lack of education when we talk about learning to live off the land. You got to have it's a different kind of education. You need education you got to learn to hunt. You got to learn to survive in the north. You got to learn to live, where you may profit for the year. That's part of education. But the problems of those days, today's problems were non-problems, non-existence. For example, there was no booze and drugs. There was no health problems those days. If there is any, well, it wasn't like today. Today's health problems are a lot worse than they were a long time ago. Before the non-natives came, you know. I suppose we did not know what's epidemic. They start killing people only after the southern people came on here. That's it's early 1900s and the late 1800s, you know. So the problems we have today were non-existence prior to 55. A lot of problems. Like a lot of it today, lot of the problem we have today is depressions and very low self-esteem. And I believe today's problems are because of lack of education, and there was no existence in those early years, in the modern days. Mm-hmm. Like today's problem is lack of education. That's the biggest problem we have today. People like to say the biggest problem today is booze and drugs. Well, they are a big problem, but I think they would have been eliminated a lot through education.
What do you think of the chances for the future of young Native people?
I think the chances are good for the young people, young individuals, young Native people. The chances are very good. Today's opportunities are good, and I have a lot of hopes. And I think if our children want the opportunities for the future, they start today through education. And with education, you have a lot of opportunities.
That's the advice you would give them?
Yes, I would advise and evaluate and other native people, the Indians and Métis as well, that if we're going to live in a new society and try to live and integrate into the industrial society and be able to live anywhere in the world, I would advise that you get your education, and you could, and all opportunities are yours. You could travel the world over. You don't have to be tied down to one region. You can move. You can move east, west, south, anywhere you want to. You know, all over the world with education. The opportunities today is good. Just get your education, and you could start from there.
Do the old traditional ways have a role to play in today's society?
Yes, I think the young people today are fortunate that they still have people from the olden days, the parents and the grandparents still alive to let them know the lifestyle we had before before this white culture came. So this lifestyle we had in the past would help the young people today to understand both sides, understand the way we used to live 30 years ago and over, and compared today. You know, I think it's just that life we had in the old days was good educational program to teach young people today.
What about the old scriptural beliefs of the Inuvialuit?
The old spiritual beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I always respect people's belief,
mm-hmm.
but today we have an option. We have a choice today. The olden days we didn't have no choice. People didn't know too much about God. There was a lot of shamanism, yes. People believed in supernatural powers, believed they had their own beliefs, and they believed that the power that was around those days, the supernatural power, can do both the good and the bad. But people don't know much about God those days. And since the missionaries came in the early 1900s or late 1800s, they bring along with them the scriptures, the Bible, and explain that there is a God. And so today there's no reason why anybody would not know anything about God. We know we got a choice. We got a choice to serve God or to shamanism.
Sam, how important is a belief in some religion?
Well, it's important for people to believe in God. You know, it's part of us, and I know for one thing, none of us are going to live forever, you know, mm-hmm. and we all look forward to, I don't think anybody look forward to die, but when you know God, it's a gain to die. That's all I can say.
Is there a person you have known that you especially admire?
Yes, I admire people. In my younger days, when I was 14, 15 years old, mm-hmm. I grew up in Banks Island, and I really admire one man, was Lenny Glangsak. Mm-hmm. I really admire the guy because of the way he talks and the way he performs himself, you know. And people like Lenny Glangsak, I admire him, and so is Angus Lyons, Jim Walkey, Fred Walkey, Bertram Pocket. Those guys I really admire, you know. They have a lot of effect in my life, because I heard them talk, I seen them perform. What do they say? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the past few years, Native organizations like the Development Corporation, IRC, and the Inuvialuit Communication Society mm-hmm. have been set up. Are these real steps forward?
Well, this is part of integration, okay? From the invalid culture to the new industrial society. To integrate, we need these corporations. If we want to be able to succeed in life, business-wise, yes, this is the right way to go about changing our lifestyle, is to integrate and get into businesses. Like I said again, to go into that, you still need education.
Have you ever thought about getting into politics?
Yes, I was involved with politics the last 14, 15, 16 years now, maybe 17 years. I'm trying to get out of it, but I still got one foot inside. It's hard to get out of politics once you get involved, eh? Yeah. Could be fun. Yeah, I used to have a lot of fun, and boy, it can get very heavy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you like about living in the north?
I like living in the north because I was born here. It's where I learned to live, and it's my home, and I think this North Country is beautiful. I like it because it got the 4 seasons in a year. Got winter, and got spring, summer, and we got fall. And I like the North. It's beautiful.
What are some of the things you do every day?
Cut wood. I like cutting wood. I got a wood stove, and I like doing that. And I like eating. I like meeting people. Yeah, I spend a lot of time on the telephone. I like talking. I'm learning every time I think I learn something. Right now I'm going to school in the afternoons. I'm getting my education.
Do you like that?
Oh, it's fun to learn when you're old, eh? You get my age, you're no more scared of your teacher. You can be able to ask questions, and it's good. You seem to learn faster. It's more fun, you know. It's I like learning. You know, it's fun. It's fun to learn. Yeah.
You also have a part-time job in the evenings, weekends?
Yes, I do part-time work for Mr. Butters and his constituents. Tom Butters, he's our MP, our MLA. You know. I do part-time work for him, you know, mostly by phones and visit a few people. But I enjoy that kind of work, meeting people, talking with people.
What would you like to see happen in the Western Arctic in 10 or 20 years?
Well, I like to see our settlement working, this land claim settlement. I want to see it established, and I hope that it's all implemented before 10 years, and I hope it's operating well before 10 years, you know. And I hope the Inuvialuit can start benefiting from this settlement, you know, like, if not cash, well, at least benefit on other things, like get the education system going, get the Section 17 of the final agreement going, like the social programs, and IDC, you know, IDC is going on right now, and but I really want to see that the Inuvialuit gets some immediate help and some kind of benefits. If it's not cash, well, I don't expect cash right now, but at least gets upgrade their homes, and upgrade their education, and upgrade the living standards, you know.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Sandra.